Good afternoon, everyone. This is Heather Teplitz with the National Apartment Association. Thank you for registering to attend this free webinar. We're very excited to offer this to our supplier community. We partnered with Jefferson Davis with Competitive Edge. He is our trade show expert and has provided multiple webinars for our exhibitors, so we're glad to have him back. Today the focus is trade show social media best practices. We hope that you learn a lot, and as Jefferson mentioned, you can always reach out to myself, to Sharon Salang on the NEA team, or Jefferson at any time if you have any questions. So with that, I'll pass it over to Jefferson.
All right, thank you, Heather. And again, thanks to everybody for logging in. We're going to take a look at best practices for using social media as part of your exhibiting program. The National Apartment Association, the philosophy is not to just rent you concrete and kind of hope it works out for you. So for the last several years, we've been building and developing the online Exhibitor Resource Center. It is loaded with content. We've really reorganized the content into a 4-step consumption process. In step 1, if you haven't downloaded the tools, go download them. There's a cost control tool, a 16-week planning tool, and a measurement tool, all free, all part of your package. We've got webinars on almost every topic that you need to execute effective exhibit. We've got a ton of articles that are organized by topical area. And at any point during your show cycle, if you have questions, all you have to do is click the Ask the Experts button, and it comes to me and my team of 10 trade show experts, several of which carry the Certified Trade Show Marketer designation. So be sure to access it, share it with everybody on your team, and come back frequently because we are consistently updating it. My background is pretty simple. Most of you have seen me around last several years. If you're new and I haven't met you yet, I absolutely look forward to meeting you at Apartmentalize. I live and breathe trade shows. As much as I'm a consultant trainer, I'm a student and a practitioner, and I'm always on the hunt for how do we make this better. So when it comes to trade shows, I don't know much, but I know trade shows. We've evaluated now over 25,000 booths in action, including at Apartmentalize. And for me, I've always been, what are the 80-20 rule, the 20% of activities that create 80% of the value. And I think we've organized those now into 5 critical success factors that really make the difference between making an expensive appearance or a profitable investment. So thanks for being with me here. Let's get started here. We've been talking a lot over the years about the importance of pre-marketing your participation, and it really comes down to what I call winning the game before kickoff. And the more media you can use, the better. And we're going to take that deep dive today on social media. That's what we're focused on. But what I want you to think about right now, all of you that are with me, is as you promote your participation in Apartmentalize, how many media do you typically use? You might want to jot that down on your notepad or your workbook, because people always ask me, they go, hey, Jefferson, what is the single best media for promoting your participation? And my answer is always the same. There is no single best. The magic is in the mix. So you want to use as many media as your time, your budget, and your skill set enables you to do. The more, the merrier. You want to be everywhere they look.
Okay, now what I'd like to do is bring Sharon Salang on from NAA to talk to you about a free marketing opportunity that can integrate with your social media. So Sharon, take it away.
Thanks, Jefferson. So every exhibiting company has access to their Exhibitor Dashboard, which houses all important information regarding the show. And included in the dashboard is the Exhibitor Marketing Toolkit. So NAA has partnered with a company called VIP Guest Invites to provide our exhibitors with a full digital marketing service that's proven to attract attendees, and also promote your participation at events. And in this marketing toolkit, each exhibitor is given a number of marketing materials, such as a unique promotion code to give your clients and prospects as $25 to $75 off a full conference registration, and the link to register to make it easy for your clients to find that link versus having to find it on the website. And then it also includes an email invite and a landing page invite to send your prospects and clients to make it also easy for them to find that link to register. It also includes banner graphics that come in different sizes to include in your email signatures and your websites, and also a social media banner. And then it also comes with social media sharing, so direct links to all the social media platforms to share your participation at Apartmentalize. So all of these tools are available in the dashboard. It's very easy to use, and most importantly, it's free for you guys. So please make sure you take advantage of it. And if you do need help accessing the digital dashboard or finding the digital exhibitor toolkit, please let Heather or I know, and we'll be happy to help you.
All right, thank you, Sharon. What a great program. Wow, it looks super easy to use. All they have to do is grab their promo code and their reg link and use the free tools here, and they can reach out and invite their customers. And while we're on the topic of inviting your customers, sometimes exhibitors will tell me that we don't really want to invite our customers, and I'll ask them why not, and they'll say, well, because our competitors are there. Well, here's the thing that I want everyone to think about. You should never go into a key industry show like Apartmentalize without reaching out and inviting your customers, whether you think they're coming or not. And I say that for two reasons. The first reason is prior to a key trade show will be the time when the competition is knocking on your customer's door. So you don't want to lose by default. And then the second thing is today we're finding that trade show attendees are using shows to revalidate existing buying relationships. So make sure to reach out and touch your customers, give them a reason to come see you, and of course use this incredible tool that NAA is providing you for free called Invite a Customer. So thanks for your help on that, Sharon.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about trade show social media. Some of the pros and cons of social media. The pros are, generally it's free, right? Now there are some paid functions if you're using pay-per-click, but for the most part it's free. The second thing is most of us today are relying so heavily on email, and that's where the clutter is. The email box, the average business person today, according to the latest research I saw, is getting 147 emails a day. That's a lot of emails. And now with spam filters and firewalls, a lot of our emails are ending up in people's junk filters, and they don't know, and we don't know, right? So I'm not saying don't use email, but I'm saying don't rely on it as your single and only source. The other great value of social media is the ability to extend the show pre, at, beyond your booth at the show, and after the show. So you can really extend the reach and the life of your show by being active with social media. Typically, it's a great way to get access to like and hard to reach people. Your messages can go viral really quickly, which is one of the great advantages. And finally, with our smartphones today and our cameras and our videos, it is so easy to post on the fly, so there's a lot of good reasons, pros to do it. Some of the cons are sometimes we tend to think, we do one or two posts and we're going to get hundreds or thousands of likes, friends, or followers. And that's sometimes true, but sometimes not. I think the major question that we all grapple with is, given the explosion of social media channels, what channels should you use as part of your trade show program? There's definitely a learning curve involved, and it's time intensive. It takes some time. And finally, it seems like the rules and the algorithms for each of the social media platforms are constantly changing. So we have to keep up with those. Okay, so let's start off with, you're seeing on the screen right now, Exhibitor Magazine did a 2018 social media research, and they wanted to find out what channels exhibitors were using, what objectives they were using it to support, and what metrics they were using to measure. And as you can see on the screen here, the ` trade show platform, 81% of exhibitors are using Facebook. Number 2, 79% are using Twitter. And number 3 is LinkedIn with 66%. And so as we kind of work through the content today, we're going to take the top 3 to 5 platforms, and we're going to go a little deeper dive on how to use them for trade shows and share posting ideas, the type of stuff you could be posting, and really give like a primer on each. Many of you on here today may be very experienced with social media, so maybe we're reinforcing some stuff you already know, but I'm hopeful that we're going to add a few new arrows to your social media quiver. Now, you'll notice on the right of the screen that the #1 objective for social media is building and increasing your brand awareness. Number 2 is driving more traffic to either your website or a microsite. And number 3, which really excites me, is increasing your booth traffic. So these are a sample of the reasons or the objectives why exhibitors are using it, which gives you kind of a nice little list to figure out what are our objectives. Okay, so the next slide here talks about what are they measuring? How are they tracking or gauging the effectiveness of the channel? What channels or what metrics are they using? And you know, social media impressions, you know, the number of people that are seeing the posts is the #1, with tweets, retweets, or mentions, and posts, comments, or likes as the second, and third is the click-through rate. So, you know, we'll talk about having call to actions on all of your social media posts, but click-through rates will be one of the keys that you'll want to watch. So for you, at this point, I would think about what channels are you using, #1. What are your objectives? Do you have clearly defined outcomes for each channel? And number 3, what metrics are you using? So I'm going to get into now a top 10 list, if you will, here of social media best practices. So #1, if you're new to social media, or if you're really time pressured, like almost every exhibit manager is, then don't try to dabble in all the options. Pick 1 or maybe 2 that you feel are a best fit given your company, you know, your product or your service and your industry. And once you pick those 2, be sure to commit to a consistent campaign. We'll talk in a moment about developing a posting calendar. Number 2 best practice, piggyback on show management's efforts. Take a look at what they're posting. Notice the key messaging they're sending out, the key words that are showing up in their posts, and the key phrases that they're using, and integrate those into yours. Be sure to follow the National Apartment Association. You know, keep an eye on their posts and share their posts with your community, and add comments and let people know you're going to be there with your booth number. You'll see here the different URLs and the hashtags. The Twitter hashtag is #ApartmentalizeD2019. So be sure to capture these. They're in your workbook, and they're also on your the screen here. Capture those and be sure to use them. Next, invest a little time to try to figure out what channels your audience is paying attention to. One way to do that would be to ask your staff to just ask customers on inbound and outbound calls. Say, hey, what social media channels are you really paying attention to for business, right? Because we're wanting to know what business channels. You could also do a quick survey on a program like surveymonkey.com or any of the survey tools that are out there. When you begin to get into each channel, groups are really important. We'll talk more about that as we get into each of the different channels. And whenever people follow, like, or retweet your content, make sure you're thanking them for doing that. You know, people tend to repeat behaviors that get rewarded. And sometimes just say, hey, thank you so much for retweeting our content. It'll motivate them to retweet more often on your behalf. Number 4, post frequency for trade shows. How often should you post? When should you start? Well, here's a really good jumping off point. Number 1 is your calendar, as we'll show you in a moment. You know, predetermining your dates and your topics. About 2 months before showtime, you want to get at least weekly. Start letting people know you're going to be there, promoting your booth, promoting what's going to be happening in your booth. And then as you move into a month before showtime, you want to get into that 2 to 3 times a week window, 3 to 4 times a week, I'm sorry. And then as you move in those final 2 weeks up to showtime, you want to get in that 3 to 5 times a week window. And then during the show daily, and honestly multiple times during the day, especially if you're having events in your booth, product reveals, celebrities are going to be in your booth. Be sure to post all of that. And then don't stop when the show closes. Keep it going. 2 to 3 times a week for the weeks following the show would be a good frequency. Okay, be sure to use the apartmentalized name and the hashtag in your posts. This will immediately establish relevance of your posts, and you're essentially leveraging the National Apartment Association's amazing brand, both their visibility and their credibility, which will help you get more viewers, more readership. Keep them short. I mean, I don't like to think ADD is the word, but wow, I mean, we are, we want it all, but we want it in sound bites. So as you post, keep it short. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So photos are extremely powerful, and short videos are also very powerful. Our audience today has a short attention span, so we really want to leverage photos and videos. Live streaming, too, is another option that we have today for things like product launches, demonstrations in your booth. If you're doing educational sessions, presenting them, live streaming, and there's 2 great platforms out there. Periscope and Meerkat are 2 of the most popular streaming sites that you could use. Make sure your content is relevant to your audience and ultimately important. In marketing, we always talk about people notice what's relevant and they engage with what's important. They engage with what's important. So relevant, important, 2 key words. Don't think so much about your products or your services, but think more about the goals, the challenges, the issues, the problems, that your audience is experiencing. People's brains are hardwired to quickly notice anything that addresses a goal they're trying to achieve or a problem they're trying to solve. Sometimes in B2B marketing, one of the best marketing formulas is problem, agitation, solution. So your posting could dangle a problem, and it could give a little bit of visual, whether it's video or copy or imagery, the implications of the problem, coming to apartmentalize and visiting your booth as the place to find the solution. So you would use the problem agitation angle in your posts, position coming to the show, visiting your booth as the place to find the solution. You don't want to tell your whole story in front of the show, because if you do, then the question is, why do they need to come see you, right? Next, 4 keywords that you'll always want to include in your copy are see, do, learn, and get. If you'll sit down and really think about your visitor experience, what are they going to see? What are they going to do? What are they going to learn? And what are they going to get? That'll give you a lot of fodder for building some really good content to post. One second, I believe our internet is slowed down a little bit here. Number 8, next, NEW. Please write that word down. New is a magnet. In fact, if you ask 100 attendees as they walk into the exhibit hall, why are you visiting the exhibit hall? 91 on average will tell you that seeing new products, new services, and new vendors is at the top of their list. So make sure you really think about what's new and you emphasize that in your posting. Photos, videos, and a link. And that's where your click-through will come handy, your link to grab more information. Okay? A clear call to action. For every post, think about what do you want the reader to do as a result of reading your post, and then be sure to insert your call to action tag in the middle and toward the bottom or the end of the copy. And remember this, our 10th best practice here is that social media is about knowledge sharing. It's about community. It's about conversing and having conversations. It's not about hard selling. So, as you position yourself as the fountain from whence all knowledge flows on your specialty, and you provide quick read educational content, you'll be establishing that thought leadership position, which adds a whole lot to your brand value and your brand identity in the market. Sometimes just showing the human side of your business. When you think about a big brand like Apple and you think about the amazing brand they've been able to build, most of their marketing, they're not real big on feature benefit marketing. They're real big on people and the human side. So, spotlighting people in your company, funny things that happen. I mean, we all need to laugh more often, right? So think about what you can post from, about the people and what's funny, about the side of your, about your business. Start conversations, like when you're in your groups, like LinkedIn, for example, come up with a really good question that gets people talking about your area, right? So start a conversation and then watch that conversation and be sure to comment on people's response. And remember, as we said earlier, thank people for getting involved in the conversation. Your links, may go to content on your website. You might have white papers, case studies, industry intelligence reports, content-rich videos. These are all things that you can do so that it's not so much selling, but it's more about building that community and it really expanding your position as a thought leader in your space. Okay, and don't be shy about sharing other thought leaders' content. You can play what we would call an aggregator role, where you're keeping an eye on all of the latest topics that have to do with your product or service and aggregating or sharing others' content. That's fine too, because they'll link it to you. So we've given you 10 best practices here. Go through them, kind of, am I doing this? Am I not doing it? Could I be doing this better? Grab 2 or 3 of these practices that make sense for you and put them into play for Apartmentalize. You're right in the sweet spot of doing it. Okay, so we talked about building a calendar, a social media posting calendar. And on the screen, you'll see an example here of how they're using color blocking and they're identifying the times of day to post, what type of content it'll be, the major topic area, the copy they're going to use, and then any links. And this is a really great way to kind of sit down and think through your plan for a trade show And there are several really good platforms that you can use, aggregators, where you can manage all of your social media through one site. Hootsuite was really the first into the space, and they're good. I mean, these are all good. But as you can see now, there's been a lot of options that have appeared. So if you're not using a social media content management platform, these are the top 7 that show up in terms of being the highest rated and the most used. So share these. Take a look. If you're not using one, take a look. They're all good. I think you'll probably enjoy using any one of them. Let's move into the media now. Facebook and you know, we're going to kind of chip away at the media in the order of usage. So one of the big things about when you create your content calendar and why it's so important that you organize your posts by what channel is because the different users of these channels have different preferences. So Facebook, you know, people like the personal touch. They really want to know that you know that you're not just this business or this entity, but there's real people. You know, so showing your personal side on Facebook is really strong. Facebook is also big on belonging, right? They want to be part of a group, a tribe, a community, right? So there's a strong need to belong in the Facebook community. So as you build your tribes and your groups, you want to tailor your content toward that direction. When it comes to trade shows, you know, one of the first things, if you don't have it already, is set up a company page. If you don't have a company page, start there. Then you can set up an event page specifically for Apartmentalize, right? And then you can add a custom tab showcasing, you know, the trade shows that you're going to be at coming up. Facebook has some really powerful targeting tools that can help get your content in front of specific demographics. And there's a lot of online content on Facebook tutorials on how to create and use all of these services. The best times of day, I was doing some research on social media and posting, and in blue on the screen, you'll see the best times of day. And it's Thursday and Friday between 1 and 4 p.m. are the best times of day to post on Facebook. And then you have the Saturday and Sunday window too. Weekend. So again, because it's a personal thing, people tend to be paying a little more attention to Facebook on these time frames. What are some of the ways you could use it? Well, first of all, just announce, right? Let people know you're going to be there, right? Your booth number, the name of the venue. You could also use the, you know, the Apartmentalize hashtag. You could use the Convention Center's hashtag. The more hashtags you can use that are relevant, the better. The more viral your message will go. Let them know what you're going to be displaying and give them a reason to come visit your booth. Sharing stories, you know, who doesn't love a great story, right? About how a customer who is experiencing this problem and they used your products or services and the impact or the difference that it made. So, you know, on the show floor at Apartmentalize, I've been there for several years now. Many of you have really cool giveaways. And so giveaways, you know, hey, drop by our booth to pick up this or that. You know, that can be a strong one. Remember your new product. If you're going to be demonstrating, showing, telling something new in the booth, that's a great thing to post. Hospitality events. Some of you are doing, you know, hospitality events. So that's another great thing to post.
Okay, let's talk about how to use Twitter as part of your social media campaign. The first thing to know about Twitter is that people who use and prefer Twitter really like short and simple messages that are straight to the point. So you can't get real long and deep on a message, but links are the key on Twitter because you can kind of create the curiosity and then have them click the link to get more information. And when you do Twitter posts, make sure to include hashtags because Twitter users really like hashtags as a way to connect to a group of related conversations. So some of the uses for trade shows, number one, top of the list is be sure to use the National Apartment Association's hashtag to connect with the show audience. That hashtag is hashtag apartmentalize 2019. But you also, as an exhibitor, can create a event hashtag for your booth or your event or experience, and you can promote it. So be sure to use it before and during the show to help create more viral buzz about what's happening in your exhibit. The next thing is Twitter used to be limited to 140 characters. Well, now they've doubled it to 280. So what you'll want to do is you have a little more space, and you'll want to place your links, to get more information at about the quarter mark of the message, of the copy or the text message. With Twitter, one of the best practices is always encourage your customers to tweet and retweet about your company, and people when they visit your booth, encouraging them to both tweet and retweet messaging. And finally, what we're seeing on show floors today is many exhibitors are beginning to either have a video screen or even a video wall in the booth that is showing their live Twitter feed. And this is a great way to encourage people to engage with your Twitter account.
The best times of days for posting on Twitter, Wednesday at noon, Monday through Friday from 12 to 3 and at 5 p.m. The same ideas on the stuff you can post. The big thing I would do on Twitter is really try to encourage people to retweet your message. LinkedIn, this is a whole different animal. Okay, Twitter, Facebook are real strong. I mean, they're certainly being used in B2B, but they're also a lot of personal use. LinkedIn is almost exclusively B2B. So people who are really active on LinkedIn are looking for professional growth, right? They're looking to learn, and so they're looking for posts that are going to help them know more, do more, get better. And networking is a big part of the LinkedIn experience. This is where some of the best group conversations happen, peer-to-peer conversations within the group. So once again, using LinkedIn, if you don't have a company page, set one up. Make sure that it's keyword rich. So anytime keyword, it's going to have your LinkedIn page flash. The showcase page function will allow you to have a dedicated page for each show that you're doing. Take a look at your top customers, your top 10, top 20, top 30 customers, and notice what groups they are part of. Join those groups. When the show has a LinkedIn group, join the show's LinkedIn group. These are some of the ways you can really apply LinkedIn for your trade shows. The best times of day to post on LinkedIn are Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m., Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, interestingly, at 7:30 in the morning and at between 5 and 6 p.m. So note these times, if you get nothing else from the webinar but these best time posts, then that was worth the price of admission, so to speak. Be sure to send out your event invitation to all of your connections. It's a great way to quickly, get your presence in front of your whole audience. Work through the groups. LinkedIn's groups are really powerful, so work in those groups. Sometimes a before and after photo or a video of a transformation in process, those will get a lot of looks. When you reach out with your invitations and your copy on LinkedIn, put a big emphasis on what they'll learn by visiting. Remember, it's a B2B audience. They're looking to expand their career. The final point on LinkedIn for your connections, use in-mail, okay? In the business world, only 3 out of 100 B2B sales or marketing emails get opened. 3 out of 100. LinkedIn, 1 out of 4 get opened. So that's a difference of 22% response, 3% versus 22. So use InMail, extremely powerful. YouTube, if you don't have a YouTube channel yet, set one up. It's free. This will be your placeholder for all of your videos. And there's a little secret that if you'll put the YouTube player on your website's homepage, you'll rank higher in organic search. So make sure to get your YouTube video on your website's homepage. Take a look at what videos you already have that you can repurpose and add to your YouTube channel. And be sure to add search terms and keywords to each video title. And anything show specific, make sure that you get the show name into the title and the hashtag. And then distribute these links through all of your other channels. But many of your other, like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, will be the point of connection, pulling them to your YouTube page. Okay, teaser videos are super hot. You remember years ago when they were releasing the Mazda Miata, how they used that teaser? They had the car under a sheet, and the wind blew like Marilyn Monroe and the skirt blowing up, and all you saw was a little bit of the rear tire and the tail. So it was a teaser video. Teaser videos are a really great way to get pulled through to your booth at the show. YouTube gives you a tremendous ability to share customer stories. And one of the things you may want to do if you haven't thought about it is when you're live at the show and you're in your booth with your advocate customers, see if they're amenable to doing a video. Just asking them, hey, you had a lot of choice when it came to choosing a provider. Why did you choose us? And what's changed since working with us? How have we improved this or that? And what would you tell others as reasons why they might want to at least take a peek at us? So video, extremely powerful. And don't worry about broadcast quality. It doesn't need to be like television type quality. Today with smartphones and cameras, the ability to do a quick interview with a customer anywhere, that could happen anywhere. So don't get too caught up in having broadcast quality video because on YouTube, it's not expected. Okay? Instagram. Let's go to that one. Instagram is all about the imagery, right? So you'll want to make sure that whatever images you're using, they're the highest quality they can be. You're going to want to use hashtags, and you're really going to want to think about brand stories that resonate with your audience and your people. For the trade show use, you'll want to set up an account, put your logo on it, link it to your site, and then connect to Facebook and your other media. You'll also want to make sure you have the apartmentalize and your booth hashtag on your photos, because this will make them flash when people click the hashtag. Geotagging your photos in terms of the physical location where they were taking is another best practice you want to apply with your photos and your videos. You can plug your YouTube videos into your Instagram channels. The best days and times to post on Instagram are Monday and Thursday, anytime but 3 to 4 p.m., and then Wednesday at 5 p.m. Those are the best posting times for Instagram. The ability to take a series of photos and build a story over 4, 5, or 6 different photos is a great strategy to deploy on Instagram. Capturing your moments in 15-second videos are powerful. Previewing your products will add a lot to it. And if you've got any form of a contest or promotion, this is a great place to promote it. And along with the word giveaway as a way. And again, always with all of your posts, ask your followers to like, retweet, and follow for a chance to win when you're running a contest. Okay, so we have covered a lot of ground here, and yet I feel like we've just scratched the surface. I'm going to bring Heather and Sharon back, to add to what we've talked about here today and offer any closing comments. And while they're doing that, I'm going to take a look into the question queue. So Heather, back to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys for your time. Hopefully you found that information to be very valuable. We did have some information for our VIP guest invites, which is a new tool that we launched this year for our exhibitors. So I'll pass it over to Sharon to provide some additional information about it.
Thanks, Heather. So all exhibiting companies should have access to their Exhibitor Dashboard, and in that dashboard houses all information important to planning for the event. This includes the Exhibitor Marketing Toolkit. So NAA has partnered with a company called VIP Guest Invites to bring exhibitors a full digital marketing service. And this service includes information on how to promote your participation at the show. So you can find banner graphics that offer different size banners, including a social media banner. You'll also find an HTML email invite, and this allows you to broadcast or have VIP guest invites send on your behalf a link to a landing page that is also inviting customers to the booth. And you'll also find templates for social media sharing, and also a way to share on all platforms such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Each company also has a unique promotion code that gives you $25 to $75 off of a full conference registration for any of your customers that you can share in your emails, invite copy, and also the link to register. So all that information is in the Exhibitor Marketing Toolkit in the dashboard. If you don't have login access to your dashboard, please reach out to me and I can provide that to you. But please take advantage of this. It's here for you. It's easy to use and it's free. So yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Sharon. Hey, everybody listening too, I tell you what we're going to do because there were some strong visuals that we wanted to show you, and we're going to do a re-record of that, and I'm going to splice it into the replay. So I would encourage you to come back and review the replay of this, and we'll let everybody know because that is a super powerful tool. And we had a little serious technical glitch 10 minutes before go time that created some chaos. So apologies from my side, but we will be sure to get that uploaded. And once we record it, for everyone who attended, we will send you a link to only that piece. So we'll make sure that you get that. All right. So let me take a look in the question queue. Let's see. We got several questions here. Heather and Sharon, this question may be in your wheelhouse. Does NAA have any restrictions on live streaming from inside the educational sessions?
I'm trying, from an attendee standpoint, like live streaming from an attendee versus NAA?
Well, given that we have exhibitors on here, I'm thinking the question is about, so if an exhibitor was either at a session or presenting a session, can they live stream that session to their community?
I'm not quite sure because we don't manage the session piece of the conference. I'm sure that's not prohibited, but we can double check with the team.
Okay, yeah, we'll
directly to Sharon and we'll make sure we do the follow-up.
Yeah, and then the next question is, Sharon, Heather, how can an exhibitor best support NAA's social media team with event promotion? For example, are there specific channels that NAA is targeting for Apartmentalize that exhibitors should really be working with, and how can they best support your efforts?
Sorry. Like our own social channels?
Yeah, so the first question they're asking, it's a twofold question. They're asking about, number one, how can they best support your social media team in terms of what you guys are doing with event promotion? And then second, are there specific channels that NAA is most utilizing to promote Apartmentalize?
So our marketing team does share posts on Apartmentalize on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And
like you mentioned in your presentation, Jefferson, it would be great if they could retweet that to promote the show and also their participation in the show as well. And then also just to highlight what Sharon spoke on earlier about the VIP guest invite, is you guys have access to this through the Exhibitor Dashboard, and you can pull the pieces directly from the dashboard and promote those in your own social media. It's already ready to go. You just need to share it with your marketing team and promote it out to your sales team, but also reshare anything that NEA pushes out too.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, we got another question. Are we allowed to take photos and videos during the event for our social media, or is there some form of a waiver or authorization that exhibitors need to get?
So you can take photo and video inside your booth only. It cannot take place outside in the aisles or any, in the main spaces. We have our own professional photographers, but if you want pictures and video, that can happen as long as it's contained and set up in your own booth space.
Okay, thank you. The next question I think is in my wheelhouse, and Sharon or Heather, feel free to add to this. If someone's asking about display themes on Instagram, is it a good strategy to revamp a business's Instagram page? I believe what they're asking is, should they kind of brand the Instagram page to their company? And the answer would be yes, of course. And you'll want to do that really with all of your channels. Your Facebook page can have branding. Your Twitter can have branding. Your LinkedIn, both your company and your event page can have branding. So yes, of course, the more you can brand it to your company, the better it will be for sure. Let me see. So someone asks, the suggested posting frequency sounds reasonable for one show, but what if a company has 3 to 6 shows during the same week? That's where your social media calendar and your aggregator site like Hootsuite or Sendable or any of the 7 we recommended, that's really going to help make your life easy, because they'll be going to different audiences. And of course, you'll want to have each of your posts tagged to, when you have multiple shows going, you'll want to be using the hashtags for each individual show. But that certainly complicates the water, and maybe it'll force you to have to do a little less posting, so it's not overkill. But that's where your aggregator is going to help a lot in terms of having a calendar, having the media, having the show, and then being able to kind of look at how things kind of synergize, what messages might be applicable to all shows and what messages might be very unique to any individual show. So I think that'll help a lot. Yeah. Let me see what's next. All right. Well, thank you. So that's all I'm seeing for questions. So let today be a beginning. I know we covered a lot of ground, and we covered it really rapidly. You learned a lot here today. You learned about what channels exhibitors are using, what objectives they're setting, what metrics they're using. We went through a top 10 list of best practices. Then we kind of drilled down and gave you a deeper dive on the top 5 platforms, including best trade show uses, posting ideas, and the best times and days to post. So I would encourage you to review all of this carefully, and then put together your game plan. You're right in the sweet spot right now with Apartmentalize coming up here soon to make this happen. So on behalf of Heather and Sharon and the entire management team at the National Apartment Association and Jefferson and my team at Competitive Edge, thank you so much for giving us 45 minutes of your day. To learn more, let the learning continue on the Exhibitor Resource Center, and look forward to seeing you at the upcoming Apartmentalize. This concludes our webinar on trade show social media best practices for Apartmentalize. Thanks for logging in, everybody.